estate. We are the Real Estate Wholesalers Club. I'm Justin Chamness. Welcome to our Shut Up Money show. Every Saturday at 10 a.m., we talk about real estate wholesaling. We invite you, the public, anybody out there that wants to join in. You can join us on YouTube, Facebook, a number of other platforms. Also, we have the Zoom room right here. If you want to get live interaction, live Q&A, you're going to want to do that by visiting www.zoomjustin.com. All right. Check us out if you want more info about us. We're at realestatewholesalersclub.com. But today I got a special guest for you, and I've got some special things I want to take care of because real estate wholesaling, near and dear to my heart. I love it. It's not complicated, guys. It's not a difficult process. Okay. We complicate it in our minds, right? We make a simple thing difficult or more complicated than it really is. Now, I want to share screens with you and talk with you just briefly before I introduce the guests here today and jump into the topic, which is, by the way, you noticed on the topic line, the headline, the title of the video here that you found is the best lists for wholesalers and lease options. So, we're going to talk all about lists today. We're going to talk about how to find the right lists, how to find them affordably. We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to take your Q&A. But before we do that, let me lay a little bit of groundwork, okay? And the groundwork I want to lay here, I'm going to share a screen with you to a whiteboard. And we're going to talk about the 4 mountain peaks, just briefly. I got stuck on this mountain peaks, y'all. I got stuck on the mountain peaks. I wish now that I had picked something else, like these are the 4 pistons in your engine, Yeah. I could have done
4 pillars, man. So pillars.
The 4 pillars to the temple of wholesaling, or
right. Don't matter what it is.
I one day I inadvertently went with mountains, and so here we go. We've got 4 mountain peaks, but anyway, so there's 4 mountain peaks to climb in real estate wholesaling. The first one you guys know is what? I'm typing it out, but you can shout it out if you know it. What's the first mountain peak you have to climb as a real estate wholesaler? The first important task. There's only 4.
We're getting leads?
Yeah, getting leads, guys. If you don't have leads, you're not self-employed, you're unemployed. That's what I like to say. And I believe it's true. My experience in my career has led me to believe this. I started real estate wholesaling back in 2001. Just like you don't know nothing. If you're out there thinking, man, I don't know nothing about how this works. Yeah, that was me. I knew nothing. I learned that it didn't even know it existed until one day I met my brother. Well, my experience since then has taught me that there's been many days where I've been self-employed. I've had leads to work. I've had prospects, right? If you don't have prospects, you're not self-employed, dude. The bad news is you're unemployed. You don't have any prospects, right? I remember watching this. Do you guys ever see this "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" movie? It's old.
I've never seen it.
Old movie with George Clooney. Hilarious movie. You should get it sometime, especially if you're from the South. It'll really tickle you, if you know what I mean. So very funny. "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" And there's a scene in that movie where this old timey lady is telling her estranged husband that she's found her a new man, and he's better for her because he's got prospects. And what that means is he's got hopes and dreams. He's got goals. He's got people to work with. You got nothing. On the day you don't have leads, you don't got nothing. All right. You're just sitting there thinking about being a businessman. All right. Enough. I beat that horse enough. Now, what's the mountain peak number 2? Somebody shout it out if you know it. These are the 4 things that have to happen as a real estate wholesaler. The only 4 important things. We're just recapping real quick from where we've studied before recently. Number 2, anybody?
Making deals?
Yeah, making deals out of those leads. Right. Great job, Alus. Great job. So More people piling up here in the Zoom room, www.zoomjustin.com. We're only going to be here for about an hour today because we have other things that we have to get to today. So zoomjustin.com. So come on in. The water's fine. All right. What's the third mountain peak? Anybody?
Deal.
Yeah, market those
Marketing.
deals. Right. Right. Market out those deals you signed. Right. Exactly. You got to be able to sell these deals off. But in order to sell them off, you need to know how to build a cash buyers list or how to market your contract. If it's an ugly house, you need to know where to put it, where to market it, how to make it a little ad, make it look pretty, how to put the right words so you don't get in trouble. Right. What do you mean, Justin? Yeah. Did you know it's illegal for you to advertise a property you don't own? Did you know that? Oh, wowie zowie. What is this? What do you mean? What you're doing is illegal? No, not what I'm doing is illegal. I'm not doing it. I'm doing it the right way. All right. I'm not marketing my property for sale. I'm not saying, hey, I've got this property for sale. You'll find that any ad you see that me or my team puts out, it says we have a property under contract, a signable contract. We would be willing to assign this deal over to you for X amount of dollars. Here's the address, blah, blah, blah. Right. So, just a little slight difference in wording will keep you safe there. But there's a mountain peak to climb there. Number 3, marketing those deals. What's the last mountain peak, guys?
Buyers. Closing.
Yeah, closing them buyers. Exactly. That's exactly right. So these are the only 4 things that matter. Everything else doesn't matter. Right? Yeah. If you could find the energy and find the willpower to block out everything but these 4 concepts from your mind, you would be a success at real estate wholesaling. Hands down. That easy, guys. 4 things. Now, with that being said, let me take it a little further. If all you focused on was these 4 things, you could build 4 little systems, 4 little machines, 4 little processes, 4 little teams, or maybe 2 teams that do 2 things each. So you see how you'll grow and develop your business upon the simplicity of the concept, not the muddy waters of all of the deepness of your knowledge. Okay. It's not how much you know. It's how simple you can get. I use the example of AC/DC. Everybody loves AC/DC. Not really, but everybody can say, yeah, their music, I've heard it. It's on the radio. I've been on the radio for decades. Yep. Every song, 3 chords. Do you think Angus Young, the guitar player of AC/DC, knows more than 3 chords on that guitar? He's been playing for decades. My guess is, yes, keep it simple. My guess is Angus Young knows more than 3 chords, but every song we love, just 3 chords. Interesting.
Fundamentals.
The simplest shit in the world, guys. Keep it simple. Everything big is composed of very, very small, simple parts. I promise you that. If you could get Amazon, the guy that runs that place, if you get Microsoft, Google, all these places, I bet if you could just get them to say, hey, give me your 30-second elevator speech or tell me what it is, how it works, how it functions, what are the pieces, I bet he could tell you in seconds, and it would blow your mind how really, as huge as it is, it's kind of simple. How they create value, capture value. That's how. Next week we got Dr. Terrence Brown, by the way, Europe's leading expert on entrepreneurship, is going to be a guest, and he's going to talk about that. He's been putting some little teasers on the Facebook group, guys. Go check it out. This is like a Shark Tank guy, all right, except from Europe.
Yeah.
lives in Sweden. All right, this is a heavy hitter. This is big time. Dr. Terrence Brown, TED Talk, all up there. So we don't want to miss that for sure next week.
Yeah.
Today I want to talk about more focus on Mountain Peak number 1, right? Because you're not going to be able to, like I said, have a consistent regular business without generating leads on the regular, on the consistent. Okay. Good leads. Aren't you tired of cold calling? Right. Or not having anything to call at all? Aren't you ready to actually find a motivated seller? It trips me out, guys. Some of my students, some of my one-on-one students, they'll contact me occasionally and they'll say, I just talked to my first motivated seller. And you're right. It sounds so different. It's so different. It's so refreshing. And these people, they want what I have. Oh, gosh. Yes. You can do this nowadays, guys. Super inexpensive. Finding these people. Very easy. I have an expert on the show with me here today, Michael Batista. Many of you here in the Zoom room have met Michael and know Michael. Many of you out there have not. But he is the owner and creator of The Automated REI. Get this right now, guys, right now, today, $0 sign up fee. All right, $0. And it's like, I'm telling people you can get going for less than $100 a month. If you want to start this business.
Yeah.
But the owner, there he is, the owner and creator is right here today. We're going to talk about best lists because you can do several things with automated REI. You can scrape Zillow, you can scrape Craigslist, you can create leads that way. But if you're going to want to, if you want to create more leads, you want to maybe stay in a more general, specific geography. Even this is an important tip for you. You're going to learn. You're going to have to learn how to get lists, how to skip trace them, and how to text blast them. But what lists? What lists? That's a big question. Everybody's like, yeah, but what lists? Okay, Michael Batista, is my distinct honor and privilege, man,
Absolutely.
to have you here. You're a friend, a colleague. You're somebody I look up to. I respect you greatly, and I'm glad that you're here today. Thank you for taking time to visit with me and my students about this topic of best lists for wholesalers and lease options, because we have people here that do both.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you want to share screens at some point and get right into automated REI and show us what's going on there. But guys,
Sure.
this is the most inexpensive way to acquire lists and have them skip traced and have them text blasted. Okay, so take it away, Michael Batista. Thank you, sir.
Hey, you guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, Justin. So wanted to just kind of cover a couple of things with the lists. Obviously, there's 2 categories here. There's the creative financing side, lease options. I'll probably focus mostly on that here today, but then we'll touch on wholesaling lists as well. There's really just a handful of those, but that's ultimately where I started in this business was real estate lease options. I said, man, what's the most cost-effective way to pick up a deal today, right? And got to looking around and realized, okay, I can pull these lists right from Zillow, right from Craigslist. Now, at the time, there were some other tools, other scrapers, and things were a little bit different 3 years ago. But nowadays, pulling data has become a little bit more difficult. So we have fine-tuned that process. We have Zillow and Craigslist data, off-market property lists, text messaging, basically skip tracing all of the things that you would need in order to be able to run your business. And like Justin said, it's really coming down to leads. Got to have a decent supply of leads, otherwise you're not going to do any deals. So what I typically tell people is, if I'm going to start in any side, I usually stick with the lease options, just because number one, it's virtual. You don't have to leave your house anymore. And I feel like I can make more money making phone calls than I can, going out and seeing properties. I lose usually 3 hours out of my day just by leaving my house. Now, some people need that. So if that's you know, how you need to function to be able to do a deal, then by all means. Some people are good just picking up the phone and putting a deal together. So it's all depending on who you are as a person. Okay. But what it comes down to is, I realized I could pull a scrape. I could pull a list on Zillow, Fizbo's, Zillow, Craigslist. That's where I started. In fact, I primarily focused with Craigslist first. And my strategy is really very simple. I would pull a list of real estate for sale by owners right from Craigslist. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't get any more fancy with that. I didn't pull the for rents. I didn't do anything like that, at least not to start, because I didn't need to. Right. But I would just pull the Fizbos right off Craigslist, and usually 500 minimum. I mean, I would go with less if I had to, but 500 minimum. I try to start with 1,000, because I know my percentages. If I send 1,000 text messages out to Craigslist, okay, 1,000 Fizbos, I know based on my message I'm going to send. It's very, very simple, and I'll put it in the chat box, and Justin share it on what other, all the other platforms. But it's, hey, I saw your house on Craigslist, and I'm definitely interested. And I lead that with an exclamation point. Like, it gets the seller excited when they're reading that. Oh, okay. I was wondering if you would consider selling your house on a short-term rent-to-own? ? Let me know. Thanks! ! Very simple.
Yeah.
Didn't have to get creative.
Yeah.
I didn't put their name in it. I just sent a straight up message. An absolute minimum that I was experiencing, even to this day, is about 30%. Now, like, I can't guarantee it, but I mean, I've seen that time and time again. 30% response rate minimum. Yeah. Usually I get 40 to 50% every single time.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
In fact, in the state of Iowa, I actually got 81% response rate one time. And that was on a list of like 400 or 500, so every area is a little different. It was the same message across the board. I didn't change it up. Right. And I think that's pretty key, because a lot of these guys will get letters in the mail. I mean, they're hitting the same list 5, 6, 7, 10 times in a row.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're dropping 45 cents if it's a postcard, minimum.
Yeah, that's go broke fast money.
Right,
Yeah.
100%, man. And it's like, you see a lot of folks, and I don't blame you. You pull a list on Craigslist, pull a list on Zillow. So it's Fizbos, it's the same thing, guys. But if I'm sending out that text, a lot of them just send one text, and they're still getting 30 to 45, 50% response rates.
Exactly.
So you don't need to send more than one usually.
Yeah.
Now you can, if you follow the same wholesale model.
People ask me a lot, what do you prefer? Ringless voicemail or texting, or what's your opinion on this? And I always say, well, done it, been there, tried it, like text better, because let me ask you a question. Do you really listen to every voicemail, or do you just kind of do like I do and boop?
Yeah.
Boop.
Yeah,
or
because my voicemail box gets full real quick.
Or you might be that third
100%.
kind of person that when I call, it's like this voicemail box is full.
Right. Mine's like that, because they only give you like 20.
But I answer every text,
yeah.
or I see every text.
Right.
Whether I want to or not, it irapes me.
Yeah. 100%. And it's you get a 95 to 98% view rate on text. Okay. Ringless voicemailer is pretty good. It's delivered, but that doesn't necessarily mean someone listens to it. Like me, I would get voicemails, fill up my box. I mean, I only have 20 in my box and then it's full. Now,
Yeah.
I'm getting calls from clients and different things are happening for me. But even if I'm, John Smith with a house, I might be getting voicemails from realtors, voicemails from attorneys, or, you never know what's going on. Right.
Yeah.
So their voicemail boxes can get full as well. It's a great tool though. Ringless voicemail if you use it right. But I would definitely lead with text if I don't hear anything. Like a day later, you can say, hey, sent you a text. I was wondering, and then you just basically say the same script.
Yeah.
Right in your ringless voicemail. But yeah, if you don't hear anything back from your list, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not a deal. If they say no, then you can export that, export your list, whatever tool that you're using, whether it's automated REI or a different type of software, or if you're doing it by hand. But you can export it, put it somewhere else, and come back to it in 30 days or, a week or 2 weeks. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to be a deal. It's just, if they say no, they're just not to that point of motivation yet. But believe it or not, guys, working just those yeses, if I send out that text, the one I just mentioned here, would you consider selling your house as a rent to own? 30 to 50% response rate. How does that translate? What do numbers look like ultimately? Right. So if I send 1,000, let me see if I can share my screen here. Hang on one second.
Yeah, go ahead. Share screens, man. That's great. Yeah, great information he's sharing with us here, guys. I'm glad he's sharing screen with it because I don't know about you guys, but I'm more of maybe because I grew up in the era that I did, but I'm kind of a visual learner and a kind of a doer learner too. So it helps me to see you jumping in it.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I'm sending out, and just on the top left of your screen, guys, I'm not too familiar with this whiteboard stuff. I prefer to work off Notepad. But if I send out 1,000 texts, I know I'm going to get 300 responses. Okay. 1,000 texts. 300 responses low. 500 would be probably high average. Okay. All right. What does that look like? 20 to 30% of the responses I get are usually yes. Or, hey, what is a rent to own, or what did you have in mind, or give me
what
a
does
call,
that mean?
Yeah.
How does that work? I get that too sometimes.
How does that work? Yep.
Yeah.
It's very. I consider all of those a maybe. Okay. So if I get a maybe, I want to call them. Okay, because it might be a deal. They're not flat out, oh no, I absolutely wouldn't do it. So I would definitely call those. So out of 300 responses, you're going to get generally 20% positive. Okay, low. 30% would be a high average. Okay, so 20 to 30%. So what does that look like? So let's just take the low number in this. 300 responses times 0.20. All right, 60 leads. Okay. 60 leads. That said, yes or maybe. Okay. Now, the folks that say yes or maybe, you're just going to call them. You're going to put together a deal with those people. Use Justin's training, learn how to talk to sellers, that sort of thing. Now, if you are on a different level and you don't have as much time, but you have a little bit of money, you can have a virtual assistant, call those leads for you. And in fact, that's something that I typically recommend, is because once you get these texts back, you're going to have to spend some time going through, replying, trying to set yourself appointments. That takes time.
Let me plug this too while we're here.
Sure.
If you want to have a virtual assistant call these and pre-screen your leads, I've got a script for that. It's in the new 2.0 courses. So Go check that out at realestatewholesalersclub.com. It's super affordable. But if you're in the VIP room, it's yours anyway. So if you're looking for that, guys, we'll help you find it because it's in the course, in both of them. So yeah. All right. Enough of that.
Absolutely.
Commercial has ended.
Perfect.
Commercial break is over.
Well, that's good though, because what I typically would do is I would spend 2-3 hours, going through the responses. And, if you don't have that time or you work a 9 to 5 or whatever, right, obviously that can add up. Guys, you can go on Fiverr, if you need to do that. Upwork, there's onlinejobs.ph. There's a bunch of different sites. I'm going to drop a golden nugget here, guys. Here's how you get a virtual assistant for $1 an hour. Everyone's been asking me, how do you do this?
I gotta hear this. $1. I told this story one time that you get them for $1, and the whole room busted out in hysterical laughter.
Yep.
We need to know.
Everyone thinks that they got to spend $3, $4, $5 an hour. Now, Justin, I'm not trying to knock your business. I know you have a virtual assistant thing, and in fact, that's something that I'll be offering, in my own program as well. But guys,
and I'm gonna dump mine and go with yours as soon as you get it running.
Exactly. But here's how we do it. Okay, I go to Fiverr. Okay, I'm going to Fiverr. All right, and I post a job. That job is need real estate virtual assistant to set appointments. Okay. All right. That's what I do. And I post here in the description. This is key. Okay. Because you're going to have to put a dollar number in the actual budget. So I put $5 in the budget space. Okay. But then in the description, I'm actually taking the same exact title. Okay. And then I'm adding to it slightly. Okay. Need VA to set appointments with text via texting. Okay. I typically use two different virtual assistants.
Is this not killer training, guys? for free on a Saturday morning. This is like killer training. Get out of here.
Via texting. So need VA to set appointments via texting. Consistent work weekly. You don't even got to keep them on the clock, all the time. Consistent work weekly. $5 for 5 hours of work. Right? Let me say that again. I'm saying I will pay you $5 for 5 hours of work.
Gosh.
And believe it or not, I get 11, 12, 13 responses.
Whoa. It's crazy.
This right here, this one line, I will pay you $5 for 5 hours of work, which translates, guys, what? Into $1 an hour. $1 per hour.
He's a smoothie. He's a smoothie.
Translates into $1 an hour.
Pretty cool.
I have never asked someone to $5 for 10. I've never done that. I've always just done $5 for 5 hours of work. Some of you guys might want to try it, but that's all they do though. Okay. Usually it's folks from, Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, whatever have you. More often than not, it's Pakistan. Their exchange rate, cost of living, that sort of stuff. It's usually going to be younger folks that are just looking for something. They live with parents so that, they can afford to take a little bit less. That's really what it is.
In the Philippines, $1 is 50 pesos. So that's it adds up, and the cost of goods many times is much cheaper.
Right.
you know, I give my virtual assistant a couple $100 on Christmas as a Christmas gift. It's like they're rich or something. It's incredible. I love the feeling.
Absolutely, man. So that's
What do they say to set up the appointment?
yeah, that's a great question. So let's say someone says maybe, or someone says, can you call me? So what you're actually going to do is you'll have your VA reply, hey, I just have had a few minutes to send you a quick text, but as I'm, yep, I just had a few minutes to send you a quick text. I'm on break at work, but I'll be done at 4. Can I call you then? Right? Can I call you then? Something like that. Okay. Now, you could use that exactly, or you can mix it up a little bit, but that's the gist of it. You don't want, I mean, if you're working a 9 to 5, obviously you can't jump on the call right now. Or if someone says, call me right now, or obviously if they say, call me right now, I would try to make that call right now. If you can. If you can't, if you're at work or whatever, you need specific appointments, this is what you're going to tell your VA to do. Okay, you're going to train them, and you might have a handful of different scripts that you write up for them, but this is by far the most basic that I would use. I'm on break at work, you're deferring it. I can't call you right now, but I can call you at X time.
Yeah.
Right.
Incredible.
So you're going to do that, and they're going to set appointments for you in your Google Calendar. If you have a Calendly or something like that, I think you can do that with Calendly free, but like Google Calendar's fine, right? And if you have a CRM, ideally they would transfer the information from your tool, whether it's automated REI or another tool, over to your CRM if you're using one. If you're not using one, then then that's fine. It's just they'll put it in your Google Calendar, and if you're following up with spreadsheets or doing something until you get a CRM, that's fine. Don't worry so much about the CRM. I just want you to focus on actually following up with the appointments, making the calls. Okay. Now, guys, for those that even want to take it a step further, okay, you can. All right. This VA right here, and I don't know if I can move this thing off the screen. I don't know what it is. This VA right here, typically, if they're from Pakistan, and with all due respect, they don't have the most conversational English. It's a very difficult accent when they jump on the phone and talk to people. Now, my VA has become very good, but I've been working with him since May of 2018. Okay. You guys in the room here probably know him to see. But still, what I would prefer is have my calling agents be from the Philippines. Or
You paid Tuesday for $1 an hour?
yes.
Oh wow.
Yep. Now, there's some other things coming with that, which he's going to be getting a pay raise, but make no mistake, because he's moved into more of a ownership type role. Okay. But essentially what I would look for if I'm going to have a call rep would be Philippines or Jamaica, because you might have to pay people from Jamaica another $1 an hour over the Philippines, but they have a very, very light accent. It sounds very American.
It sounds like Rihanna.
I've talked to, right. She from Barbados or something. I don't know.
Stand under her umbrella.
Yeah, but I mean, I might pay a Filipino VA $2.50 an hour, $3 an hour, $3.54. I might pay a Jamaican VA $4. Maybe $5. But but how I'm doing it is I'm not paying them all up front. I'm not paying them for 8 hours of work. This is how I'm maximizing my money.
Yeah.
Is I might pay this VA, the texting VA, I might pay them $1 an hour for a couple hours of work when and where I need it. So that way I don't have to keep them on the clock for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, guys, they do this. They don't care. Just give me a couple hours of work every day. It helps, right?
Yeah.
And you can do the same thing with your calling VA. Okay. So I like to have 2 different VAs because they hold each other accountable. Okay. One's not doing something, this other one can't work. So they're going to both tell you about it. You know what I mean? They hold each other accountable. It can be very important. So what I'm doing is I would take the calling VA and I would have them only call the positive ones. Okay. Only call the ones that say yes. You know, you can call me at 4, or you can call me at 2, or I won't be available, but I'll be available tomorrow morning at 10. Can we do that? You know, whatever. All the $1 an hour VA's job is to schedule that appointment. That's it. Period. Nothing else.
You're talking about leads?
Talking about leads.
Seller leads. This is how
Yep.
they're interacting with the seller leads.
Seller
Yeah.
leads. Yep.
They're setting
That-
an appointment for a professional pre-screener or a closer, correct?
Yes. Yes. Typically a pre-screener. Okay. Because
So
you're
what
going
I've
to
been
pay.
doing, so what I've been doing is calling everyone that says yes or maybe, and like right
Mhm.
there and then. Is that something maybe you guys wouldn't recommend?
No, you absolutely. Especially if you're new. It's very important to be able to get on as many phone calls as possible. I'm talking about when you're ready to level up to, hey, I don't want to be in that part of the business. I've realized I can save a lot more time just by weeding out the tire kickers. As long as I train my VA just a little bit. You don't have to train them to become a closer.
Okay.
All they're doing is confirming that, hey, they might go over a very, very small portion of what Justin teaches in terms of his scripting. Hey, we're real estate investors. We're looking to pick up a couple of properties. And then they go into, we sent you a text about rent to own.
Yeah.
Wanted to just confirm, is that
Yeah.
something that you'd be open to? I want to give you a little bit of information to see if
Yeah.
that might work. Would that be okay?
There's a script for that in the
Yep.
2.0 course, man.
Okay.
Aiden, you have that. So,
Yeah,
Perfect.
I
Yeah.
do.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
So that type of script, your VA is going to have a different script than obviously a closer would. In fact, a really good closer is probably going to just work off of how Justin teaches it. You know, it's not exactly a script, but it's kind of like a guided pathway, really.
right.
And then you're having a high level conversation. So ultimately, your VA is your secondary VA. I call them level 1 and level 2 VAs. And then level 3 would be a closer. If you have a closer is also called an acquisition manager, or it could be you. You might be in that role. Most people on this
Correct.
video are probably in that role. But what they're doing is they're just confirming that rent to own might work, or they're just confirming that if it's a wholesale deal, that they're even open to considering selling. They're getting some basic information. Okay, they're going through a couple of pre-screen questions just to confirm. Once they're done, they're going to schedule you an appointment or your acquisition manager an appointment. That way, by that time, they've gone through a text, they've gone through an initial phone call. So by the time they talk to you, you're going to maximize your time, right? So maximizing your time, obviously, you can't get that back, especially for folks that work those 9 to 5s, or hell, some people work 12-hour shifts. So it's even more important for them to schedule their phone calls for 2, 3, 4, 5 high quality phone calls a day, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
And then that's it. That's all they have. But all the other BS work is on the VAs to take care of for you. Because you don't have 2, 3 hours a day to sit there and go through the text. Because that's what it takes, guys. You got to be able to dedicate time to go through those texts. Okay, this is a yes. I got to have a conversation. Just think of how much time goes into that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's key. That's key. But not something I would overly worry about to start. I say make those phone calls to start, and then when you guys are ready to level up, you go to the VA outsourcing. But at least understand the process. That's the most important thing. Once you get the process, you know how that works, then you can train it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's great. Great training, guys. Unexpected training, by the way.
yeah, dropping a bomb here, man.
I love how we we just flow on these Saturday mornings. I usually start out with an idea, but then we flow. We go down the rabbit trails, and this has been one of the more fruitful ones, guys. Even if you're out there thinking, yeah, this isn't for me right now. I can't afford a VA, not even at $1 an hour, or whatever your story or excuse may be. This is good training to lock away in your brain for later on, because there will be some. It will make sense in time for you to embrace some of these ideas. So lock it away, save the video, whatever you got to do. But the good training, man. Thank you for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know about anybody else, but this is blowing my mind.
Good deal, man. I appreciate that.
Blowing his mind, blowing your minds out there. I hope too, out there in the ether and out there in the cloud. I hope you're enjoying it. If you want to join us in the Zoom room, you can. It's zoomjustin.com. That's how you get there. Right now, we have 18 participants in the Zoom room. It's just pretty good crowd for us here. And we're thankful for everybody. Also, very thankful to have everybody out there watching. We've got quite a few people watching on YouTube. Hey, if you got questions, throw them in the chat. We'll try our best to get to everybody. And also on Facebook, we'll try our best, guys. So,
absolutely.
But Michael's not done. He's still got some knowledge bombs to lay down. He said before we went live, he said, "I'm here today to set the record straight."
I did, man. Yeah, I did. Yeah. So again, this is purely, creative financing, lease options, whatever you want to call it, whether it's a sandwich, whether you're doing straight up owner financing or a lease option assignment. I mean, this is the text, that I send out, right? I'm just saying, let me just type it down here below. Hey, I saw your house on Craigslist. Now, if you're doing Zillow, you wouldn't say Craigslist, but I'll just put /Zillow. And I am definitely interested. I was wondering if you would consider a short-term rent to own. Please let me know, or let me know. Thanks. That's it. Straight up text. Just switch out whichever channel you found it on. So if it was Craigslist, just remove Zillow.
So this is the
you don't even have to put your name. Out. Yeah, you don't even have to put your name. You don't even have to put, hey, John, hey, Terry, hey, whatever, right? And we do have the mail merge technology, so you could insert it, but I didn't have to do that on Craigslist, guys. They know their property's on Craigslist. They know their property's on Zillow. Right? So they're expecting your call. They're expecting your text. I've raised my hand. I'm looking for someone to buy my house.
Yeah.
We don't know why. We don't know that motivation. We'll find that out on the call, which Justin teaches. But when we're jumping on a text, they're expecting us. That's why lease options are beautiful, in this space.
Yeah. And the more, and again, guys, ACDC, the more simple, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a generic text, but it works. Works 30 to 50% of the time. I'm getting responses. Okay. I mean, I think the lowest I had this year was 29.3. Shoot me. You know what I mean? Just overwhelming responses. It's amazing. I'm getting usually 60 leads, okay, off of this one text on 1,000 texts out. That's low. If I'm getting, okay, guys, if I'm having a good day, all right, let's say I get a high response rate, or I'm sorry, I get a high number of yeses on a low response rate. That, let's say 30% of 300, okay, that's 90 leads. I'm taking the low average, guys. This is where it gets good. I'm gonna just go down here. 300 low response rate or low positive rate, 60 leads. 300 high positive rate equals 90 leads. Okay, this is 30%. This is 50%. Or I'm sorry. This is 20% on the total amount of text. So I've sent out 1,000. I've gotten a low response rate, which was 30%, but that response rate was a high positive response rate. So there's some different terms there, guys. So in other words, that translates from 300 texts. If only 20% of my total responses were yes or were maybe, I got 60 leads. If I had a good day but a low response rate, if I had a high positive rate but a low response rate, I got 90 leads. Okay, very simple math there. But what happens when I have a high response rate and a high positivity rate? Here's the beautiful thing: 500 responses, right? 500 average high response rate, and high plus high positivity rate equals so 30% of 500, right, guys? So 30% of 500 is 150 leads.
Boom.
Look at that.
Boom. Yeah. So
we're taking law of average, but I try to be realistic. I say, look, guys, expect around 60 leads. Okay. Even if I'm only half that, I'm still at 30 and 75.
yeah.
But this has been consistent for me on the text.
Yeah.
Okay. 150.
Yeah.
I'm getting positive leads.
Yeah.
Okay. 60 is low. 150 is a high average, but it's kind of like the ceiling for this. Now, if you have higher response rates and you have maybe you've cracked a code and you've been able to consistently get a higher response rate anyway, maybe this isn't the best text ever. Maybe you figured out a better way to do it. Then by all means, leverage that. You might get a 70% response rate purely, and also, a 30 to 50 or a 20 to 30% positive rate on that. I don't know. This is just my experience. Yeah. The sky's the limit.
Yeah. I think some of you guys out there are coming to the automated REI with kid gloves on, meaning you're afraid that if you go at it too hard, you'll break it.
Yeah.
But when I found out about automated REI and logged in and was playing around with it, of course, the first thing I wanted to do was test my local market and do a data count and play around with it and kind of get familiar with it. But then when I realized the potential that it has, I had one team member helping me with this at the time, and I said, what could we do with this machine? And the man said to me, he said, well, why don't we try the whole state of Missouri?
Sure. Why not?
I was like, I like your style. Let's just hit it big, get a ton of leads, and get to work. I mean, that's where the money is. Why am I trying to play around with these small numbers? And well, I'm afraid I'm going to spend $25. Oh, golly. let me put you in a time machine, take you back 10, 15 years, guys.
Right. Yeah, well, we didn't have texting, or well, we had texting, but we didn't have, automated text and just all the data that we have now. A lot of it was done with mail. So yeah, I mean, we're getting 5-cent leads, all in. That's, I've sent a text, I've got a response. I pulled my scrape. I mean, that's what, 4 cents, 5 cents, somewhere around there. So yeah, I mean, all in, out the door, after I've texted and worked it, I'm about 5 to 7 cents, per lead. I mean, that doesn't get any better than that.
It truly doesn't get any better than that. Yeah, absolutely not. Nowhere, anywhere, at any time in all of history. I'll just unless there's some stuff out there I don't know about, and there might be, but
right.
I'm just telling you from my experience, which is pretty large. You're not going to get a cheaper way to create leads. And climb mountain peak number one, it's either because you have a budget problem, you have a personal schedule management problem, or you just aren't trying. And that's really, I think, all right, let's bow our heads. The sermon's over.
Right. But that's we're in business. We're marketers. We got to consider ourselves marketers first. Yes, we're trying to become transaction, engineers and do different things with that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we got to have a decent supply of leads coming in. Otherwise, we're stuck in the water. Like Justin said, you're unemployed if you don't have leads that you're working on today.
Yeah.
So, or maybe you're new, you're still learning this. That's fine. Figure out what you need to figure out, but then just take action. Where I started, guys, is I just picked up the phone. I went on Craigslist. I didn't even have a tool, a system like this. I just said, I don't care what I sound like. I'm not that important. My ego doesn't matter, right? I don't need to worry about how I'm going to sound to an owner. And so I just picked up the phone and I just basically went through what the hell a lease option is to every single owner. And by the time I was done with just 100 phone calls, I'm like, damn, I sound pretty good. I know what a lease option is now. Because here's the thing, for you to learn, and some people wouldn't agree with this, but this is what I think. As soon as I learn something, I want to teach someone about that, teach what I learned, because by becoming a teacher, you also become a better student.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter any new idea, what, and it's like the power of 3, right? I'm working, so I'm one, okay, but I'm also reaching up or reaching forward, okay. That might be to a mentor, that might be to someone. Maybe they're not a mentor, but maybe they're someone you look up to and you can have conversations with, right? They're ahead of you in terms of success, and you're also reaching back, right? So I'm in the center, I'm reaching forward, I'm reaching back. That's kind of the power of 3, right? If you teach someone, you're going to become better as well. And you should always have someone that you're looking forward to or having conversations with that's going to help you grow in this space. So
you gotta have prospects.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're just jumping on the phone, guys. You're calling Craigslist 100 times. Okay. You're having 100 actual phone calls. If you're at 0 today, if you've not made one call, okay, but you understand, you've taken all the training, you know what the hell a lease option is, just jump on the phones. Hey, would you consider doing a rent to own? No, I wouldn't. And then I don't care if you're going into explainer mode, okay, on those first 100 calls. I just want you to talk through it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get questions back. People are going to say, well, what about this and what about that? Well, I don't know if that's going to work. And then you can kind of practice your objections.
Yeah.
At least these people you haven't spent any money on.
Right.
If that's what you're ultimately worried about,
Correct.
I know a lot of
Yeah.
people are worried about wasting money on a lead or shit. You know, I threw that lead away. Well, it wasn't a deal to begin with. It wasn't going to be a deal. So don't look at it that way. Look at it that, hey, it's an experience. Everyone's played Final Fantasy, right? We all know what the heck these video games are. After I kill a freaking beast, I gain experience points, right? I got out of that battle. Doesn't matter. I gained experience points. And at some point you level up.
Yeah.
And you might get a deal out of
yeah.
it too. You never know.
Yeah, I might pick up an elixir, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's funny.
But let's get real with it. Don't treat it as an L. Treat it as, you know, I've gained experience. I know
Right.
what not to look for. I know how and you'd mentioned it. Hey, I talked to a motivated seller. They sound way different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I have a lot of students that come to me and they'll say, well, I generated some leads on the automated REI and I called 4 or 5 of them and it didn't go so well.
Mhm.
So I don't know what's, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of discouraged a little bit. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
You called 4 or 5 people and you didn't win yet. So now you're ready to quit. All right. Here's the thing.
Sound like me.
Well, everyone on this channel, right? I mean, let's be honest. Everyone on this channel played basketball, played sports, right? We all shot the ball. We all threw the ball. We all dropped the ball. We all missed a shot. Every one of us.
Absolutely.
Apply the same thing. Apply those same principles to real estate, to phones, to call.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
you got to be willing to miss the shot to be able to be able to make it. Obviously, you don't go in with the mindset, hey, I know I'm gonna suck in this call. No, I'm gonna own this call.
Yeah.
You know, or if you're in a game, I'm gonna make every shot I take today.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean you will, but it's a mentality thing, guys.
Mindset.
That's all it is.
Yeah. What if I had a crystal ball, guys? I think of it like this sometimes too. It's a great analogy, Michael, but I want to share this one too. If I had a crystal ball and I could see into your future as a new wholesaler or lease options expert, if I said, well, I'm looking into your future now and I see, what do I see? I see it. It's becoming clearer now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Your first deal will be the 214th call that you make. Would you do it? Or would you quit?
I'd do it.
If you were me, you'd run as hard and fast as you could through them 214 or 213 so you could get to that 214th one. So my point is, but we don't know the future. But my point is we don't know what number that's going to be. It could be 4, it could be 5, it could be 1, it could be 100. You're new. Put some time into it. You know, there is a deal on the way, but you're going to have to work to get there. You know.
Right. Everyone learned how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
You know, we all fell. If you didn't, man, you're we all walk.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
Unless for some reason you're not able to walk. But I mean, let's get real. We all fell down as kids. You know, we weren't afraid to fall. We were afraid we weren't afraid to do that. We knew that was something we had to do. Right.
And I love to build ramps and jump stuff.
Absolutely.
I was fearless.
I jumped off a ramp and I flipped over my bike. I mean,
I did too.
You know,
I landed on my back on the sidewalk and then the bicycle landed on top of me. And then I was out doing it again later.
Right. But I mean, that's what it is, guys. You just got to be willing and don't, who cares? Who cares what you sound like? Doesn't matter. That owner isn't going to call you back. They're not going to hassle you. They're not going to do it. They're going to be like, okay, this guy tried to call me and it wasn't a deal. That's fine. You know, next phone call. Doesn't matter. I think everyone just gets so worked up about jumping on the phones. Don't. Just push through it. You're going to suck on the first 100. I'm fine with that. I don't care.
Yeah. But what you have at the end of that is precious, because very, very tried few have made it that far. You know, the attrition rate, the failure rate for real estate wholesalers starting out, sadly enough, you guys want to know what it is? Anybody know what it is? The attrition rate, the failure rate for new wholesalers, health sellers.
Yeah, right.
90%.
90?
90%.
I've heard worse than that, man.
You have.
I've heard come out of Ron LeGrand's camp.
Really?
It's 8% positive.
Wow. Yeah, I don't doubt it,
And
guys.
I've heard from other coaches and mentors as well in the space. It's 3%.
Yeah.
97.
Yeah.
So that's why, I mean, if you go to a seminar and you're looking around and you're like, oh, there's a fucking 1,000 people here,
Yeah.
right?
Who are all these Peckerwoods?
Yeah, right, there's 1,000 people. Who cares? you gotta be willing to be 3%, because that's why it's not like completely ridiculous, is because a seminar of 1,000 people, out of 970 of those aren't going to do anything.
Yeah. They're not going to
Right?
make it through the first 100 phone calls. That's what I'm saying. That's what he's saying.
Right.
They're going to fail because they're going to be part of that 97% that doesn't make it because they didn't make it through the first 100 phone calls. So if you make it through the first 100 phone calls, you press through to climb
way up.
mountain 1 and mountain 2, you have something precious. You are already head and shoulders above most of the clan, guys. Welcome to the club, the Shut Up Money Club.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, man. So again, guys, I could talk about lists, I could talk about leads all day, but you got to be willing to make the phone calls. And you don't have to spend money just to go to, Craigslist here. Okay. I'm on Craigslist right now. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't gotta spend any money just to go on Craigslist here. Click on this listing. Okay. And once I'm here, I'm replying. Now, if they have a phone number, not all of them do. But as long as they have a phone number, I can jump on it, make a phone call. It doesn't matter. You can just go through 100 of these.
For practice.
Okay? Just for practice, right? They're there. This is free data. Okay.
Look, this guy's got money.
Yeah. After you've gone through this 100, you're going to sound really good. Okay. Now, not 100 calls, 100 actual conversations. But people on Craigslist typically answer their phone. People on Zillow typically answer their phone. Okay. Right. How else would I get 30 to 50% response rate?
If you guys seen that commercial where it's an insurance commercial where the guy's like, he keeps stammering and stuttering his words. He's like, liberty. And they're like, we'll just dub it. That's funny. Yeah. Get through them first 100. So you're not like, my name is liberty.
I will do it.
Right? Yeah. Just want you to get through them. Exactly, man. And so like this, so I'm pulling up this listing here. Ryan, I could call or text this guy. Let's just pick up the phone call. Just pick up the phone and call him. And again, I'm not sending out any text. I'm just saying, guys, this is how you start. You just cold call 100 people. That's all I want you to do. A cold call 100 people, have 100 phone calls, ask them if they would do a rental. Oh, okay. I don't care if they say no. Then you can go into explainer mode and just talk yourself through what a lease option is, because at least you have that conversation. Even if they're going to say no, even if they've already said no, get them to say no 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I don't care. Because once that conversation is over, you've gained experience. Okay. You have gained so much from that situation. And it's just about getting reps. That's the beautiful thing about, lease options. We can get more reps with lease options than we can wholesale deals. That's why I focus on that. Now, there are more base hits, if you're using a baseball analogy here, the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 deals. Wholesale, sometimes can be quite a bit more than that. But I like lease options because it's continuous at bats. I always have another opportunity. That's the great thing about it.
I agree 100%.
But again, just jumping on Craigslist.org and going through the listings, clicking on them one by one. I mean, you don't have to do anything else than that. You've had those conversations after you feel comfortable. Okay, I really know what that's what I'm supposed to sound like, and then you're applying those scripts. At that point, now you're ready to start getting leads.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I can actually go out and get leads for myself. I can use automated REI or any other tools, right? And apply the training, apply, it's not exactly a script, but apply the structured training that Justin teaches.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Just having those really high level conversations with people that are motivated.
Yeah.
Okay, you've sent them a text.
Yeah. Yeah. Learn your rhythm. Yeah. Feel your rhythm. Learn your rhythm. Get comfortable with making phone calls to strangers. And you're not alone if you're uncomfortable with that. Not by any means. And then generating those leads so that you're confident. Yeah. Great advice. Great tips, man. What's this list you got pulled up here, man? You keep flashing it in front of me, man, teasing me with it. You gotta.
Yeah. So obviously part of this session, or actually I think the primary reason we did this session was to take a look at what kind of lists should we focus on. So I said here, real estate for sale, okay, by owner is great on Craigslist. Okay, I've had a lot of success with that on Craigslist, particularly because there's a lot more listings. Okay, there's a lot more listings usually than there are on Zillow. Okay, if you're looking at Zillow.com, let's see here. Let's just type in Orlando, Florida. Okay, and if I'm switching this up to for sale, and you look at the by owners, it's really like 1 to 3% of the total listings. Okay, that's why I like Craigslist. A lot of people go on to that, and they might not put their property on Zillow, might not think about it, but they think about putting it on. Think about putting it on Craigslist. Okay, so like for example, I have 90 for sale by owners on Zillow, right? But if I switch it to the agent properties, well, guess what? I got 1650, right? So
wow,
it's like 5% of the total listings.
Yeah.
And in some bigger markets, Dallas, Texas, or New York, or whatever, it's even less than that. So we got to be able to work with what's here. So Craigslist is great for that. Okay. But I leverage both. And if I have to move out to other cities, expand my territory, you might be in Kansas City, Missouri, like Justin is. But the great thing about it is Justin's willing to expand. He can do a deal in Iowa, Florida, Texas, probably not Texas as much, but other states.
I'm loaded for bear in Texas, man.
Yeah.
I'm armed and loaded for bear.
Well, perfect then. So looking at that, being able to do deals in any state is huge. Okay, so that's ultimately what I would look at first, is all the for sale by owners. Okay, next is for sale by agent. Okay, long days on market, right? That's huge. We can skip trace the for sale by agent properties, long days on market. We can get you the direct contact info. Okay, that's incredibly powerful, because if you're going here on under the more category, right, they have a days on Zillow, 90 days minimum. Okay, it's going to tell you how many been on here more than 90 days. And that's from the very first time someone ever put a property on Zillow. Now they might have taken it off and it might only show 28 days here, but it's going off of the original historical clock that this has ever hit the market. Okay, so what agents do is they'll take it off and then they'll put it back on to show this time on Zillow less to the general public. But you and I know, hey, that's not even true. I can go down, let's see here. There is generally a history here. Okay. So it was sold, coming soon. So December of 2019, this property has been on the market. Okay. January 2000. It's let's see here. Coming soon. January. So it's been on the market almost a year. No, I apologize. I looked at that wrong. December 6, 2019. So it's been on the market 3 months. Okay. This Zillow right here shows that it's been on the market 28 days. So it's not accurate. So once it hits 90 plus days, the motivation goes up. Okay. Because people start looking at these properties and they start thinking something's wrong with it.
Yeah.
So that's why they sit on the market so long. And eventually you've got a property that's on market 6 months and all of a sudden the listing expires. So if you can have a conversation with that owner before it expires, well, they're going to think of you, because a lot of these situations are when you're looking at for rents. If you're actually looking at for rents and you do a little bit of research, some of you guys have PropStream. I know Justin talks about PropStream, and a lot of times I'll look at the for rent property and I'll see the history of it, and it'll show that it was actually listed for sale for 6 months and then it got listed for rent. Boom.
Right.
There you
go. Exactly.
That situation.
Yeah.
They want to sell.
Bingo.
They want to sell.
Yeah.
Bingo. Time and time again, you will see that.
These are targeted. Yeah. Yeah.
People want a deal. They want, they don't want to rent. That's why they put it on there for sale.
Can I interject? We got a couple questions in the chat here real quick too before you continue on with the list.
Sure.
Somebody said, good morning. Using the SMS campaign, if I have 0 replies, does that mean no one is interested, or do I need to send out another SMS text blast? This is Denise. Denise, I feel like you would need to tell us how many you sent out, because if you sent out 6 or 8 and you got no replies, then you just didn't send out enough, or you sent out not enough. How many ever maybe you sent?
Put what text you also
or
put.
Maybe your message was not so good. He's offered a great message here in this show. Go back and catch it if you missed it. Another one question is, does the automated REI allow for VA logins separate, virtual assistant login separate from the master login?
Gotcha. So basically what you're asking is like a sub account essentially.
Like a team. Can you set up a team where they have their own private login and you can share accounts, I guess is what the question is, with a virtual assistant.
Right. As of right now, it doesn't, but when we add in the CRM here within about 2 weeks, that would be something that would be available. Okay. So we're bringing out a CRM, we're bringing out ringless voicemail, some other things on the platform as well. But once that is added, it will. So right now, basically what people usually do is just have their VA log in with their master login. And if they have a VA, ultimately, they're having them handle the majority of their systems. Okay. Now they're going over maybe with them on a conversation before the week or before the day. Hey, this is what I want you to send. This is how many scrapes I want you to pull. And by the end of the week, we followed this exact process. Now I know Justin talks about that as well. But sitting down with your VA, having a phone call with them and just saying, look, this is how many deals I want to do a month. It's really a high level call with your VA, and their job is to really be your lead manager. Right. And so I usually just have them, I would just have them log in to my main login, my master login. Now we'll add in the sub accounts and things of that nature when the CRM is brought out though.
Here's another question. What's the turnaround for answering tickets if they have a question about their campaign? Support tickets?
Typically 24 hours.
Okay.
Typically
right.
within 24 hours.
All right. Next question. What happens when when you do a scrape and it comes back with no URL? Can you explain what's happening there, and does that affect anything for us?
So I have not seen that. I know I did see a message come through. I think that was yesterday about no URL on a Craigslist.
Okay.
So I haven't looked into that personally. I know Tusif was reviewing that information, so I don't have an answer for you yet. I just don't I don't want to just BS my way through that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I would
cool.
rather just tell you I don't know yet, but we'll find out and let you know.
Yeah.
Just sounds like something strange with the scrape, or maybe and to clarify, whoever's on the message. My question is, was that Craigslist? I think that was Craigslist. If I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
know
it was
how-
Craigslist.
That was Craigslist. Okay. I'll have to take a look at that exact list. I've never seen that, but let me find out and get back to you here. I'll look into that after this call. Let me just make a note.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Look into missing URL for Craigslist scrape. All right. I will look into that after this call and get back to you or Justin, and I can post it in the chat.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Lots of advances being made on automated REI 2 coming up, building the platform, expanding the platform, offering more solutions, more products for you to be able to manage your business. So look forward to that in the next few weeks, coming months.
Yeah, absolutely. CRM is huge. If you're not already using one, a lot of guys are using Podio or whatever. We'll put it right into the platform for you. Once that's dropped, we'll do a full training on how to use it and everything. And then ringless voicemail. Everyone knows what that is, but we will be adding that to the platform as well. So just jumping back into the lists, guys, it's really, when you see those high days on market, then you see them obviously listed for rent. That's a perfect candidate for a lease option. They've wanted to sell, they tried to sell, it didn't work out, but they're ready to go. They're nice houses usually. This is the pretty house business, when you're in creative financing lease options. So but yeah, I like to get these listings. We scrape them right from Zillow, and then we do a skip trace on them. Okay, we get the owner information, just call them directly. Now, the reason I do that and not go through the agent is because I've given offers to agents in the past and I never hear back from them. Okay, it's not a good situation. I don't know what. Now, legally, they're obligated to give that offer, but unfortunately, I don't think they do. I've never had good luck with going directly to the agent and asking if they would do it. So yeah, we just skip trace these owners and we give you the direct information and you pick up the call, and really the same thing. Saw your property on Zillow. So I was listed with an agent. I'd just rather have a quick phone call with you just to see if we can work something out. Would you consider rent to own by chance, or short-term rent to own?
Yeah.
Right. Well, tell me about that. Right. You could text it too. You could do the same thing with it. But I like to pick up the phone on those ones, personally, and try to put something together. Because when there's an agent involved, usually it's because the seller doesn't want anything to do with it. But if you just quickly explain, hey, I would rather have a quick call with you. I've not had a lot of luck with working with agents in the past. I'm an investor. Just wondering if you would do a rent to own.
Yeah.
And see if they say yes, boom, there you go. You're off to the races. Do whatever you got to do with that phone call. But next would be expireds.
I hope you guys are writing this down out there. It's been on the screen. I know that 2 or 3 of you were planning on texting me or hitting me up after this and saying, what was that list again? Write it
Right.
down, guys, or screenshot it. Save it to your phone. Screenshots. Yeah, Randy.
And next would be expireds. Obviously, that's just a step beyond long days on market. Okay. These are freshly expired listings or even expired within the last few months. We pull those. Same situation. We'll go ahead and skip trace them, get you the owner information, see if you can put together a deal. A lot of times you'll find out the expireds have been listed as a for rent, like I just said. So, tired landlords. Justin did a really good video on how to find tired landlords on PropStream.
Yeah.
Right. If you guys aren't using PropStream, we can get you the same list of tired landlords
Absolutely.
and skip trace those for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't,
So if you guys want something deeper than what the surface menu of automated REI is requesting, it's okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, but it's okay for them to reach out to support and say, hey, I would like a tired landlord list, but can I have it 10 years of ownership and more?
Sure.
And currently vacant for these zip
it.
codes. Special order these things, guys. They'll put a price tag on it for you. It'll be cheaper than anywhere else. Get the tier 3 data. Get the best data. Get the best data. Stop being cheap.
Yeah. Right. And we have a few different options for skip tracing because I understand, not everyone can afford the Cadillac of data, and I get it. Even my Cadillac of data is usually a quarter the price, but half the price for sure of anywhere else. It's the same data, guys. The reason that it's the same data, I pull it from the same sources, right? Now, the only difference between what I'm doing and what PropStream is doing, PropStream's 30 cents to skip trace. I charge 5 cents.
Yeah. You might feel like you're getting a better deal because you're paying more, but they're getting a better deal because you're paying more. You're getting the same data.
And with all due respect to PropStream, they have a great product. They do. There's other tools. Joe Crump has a great product. The pushbuttonautomarketer.com. Great product. I love it. But for me, it's just, it doesn't have to be as expensive as what it is.
Right.
I've had conversations with
they're
these
$197
guys
a month in the door.
in the door. That's you don't get anything else.
Plus pay for use. Yeah.
Yes. And what you're ultimately looking at with these lists is I've literally just shrunk the margins. Okay. That's all I've done. Okay. I've been able to establish some really strong relationships, and instead of charging 12 to 18 cents to 30 cents per skip trace, I charge 5. Okay. That's really all it is. I've just shrunk the margin. I said, you know what? I can still be profitable. I can still obviously keep the lights on. If I couldn't keep the lights on, I wouldn't do this, but that's really all it is. I'm more of a volume person. Hopefully we can make up in volume where we don't charge everyone a huge amount. That's literally all it is, guys. So if you're asking what's the difference, why is it so much, that's why.
Yeah.
Because I realized that doesn't have to be as expensive as what it is. Period.
Because they're freaking cool, and I'm cool, and that's why we hang out. And you should hang out with us. That's just, come on. Everybody's doing it. All the cool kids.
Right.
It's cheaper.
And all you're doing, guys, when you're on automated REI, I have the screen pulled up here. So when you log in, you're going to be greeted with a dashboard. Now, in about a week from now, this is all going to look different. We've got a cool redesign coming in, but you guys don't care what this stuff looks like as long as it functions and it works. So we're going to click on list pulling. Okay. We're going to list pulling here. This is where you order a specific list. If you want one of these, okay, if you want a
Expired listing.
if you want a tired landlord, okay, if you want pre-foreclosures, and low equity vacant, right? All of these aren't straight up Craigslist. They aren't straight up, Zillow. This is something that we actually pull from our list source. Okay. So a couple of these lists. So the next one, for rent by owner. Okay. All that is really Zillow data. Okay. The Zillow for rents. What we do is we just take, because you can't go on to for rent on Zillow, search, ultimately by owner. They don't have it. Okay. All these people are property managers. Okay. Like virtually 98%, 2% of the listings in for rents are actual owners. I've done the research. I know this. It's completely oversaturated with that. And the property managers pretty much own this whole space. So what we do is we just do the same thing. We get you the direct owner information for these. You can call the owner yourself. That's it.
Nice.
You don't have to go through the property manager. Not by any means.
Nice.
The same situation. When you go through the property manager, you're going to get the same reaction as going through the agent. Okay. You're not going to hear back. If you do, it's delayed. All these different things occur. I'd just rather, talk to the owner directly. Okay. I mentioned that here for sale or for rent by agent, property managed company. Okay. For rent by owner, you're going to see Craigslist. You're going to see under Craigslist apartments, housing. And you're going to go in here, house, right? It's hard to differentiate who is an actual owner. Okay. And I only do house and I save it. That's what we're pulling from the for rent by owners is generally Craigslist. But then we get you the information from Zillow as well, and we just skip trace it. That's all it is. Expired listings we've talked about, tired landlords we talked about, Craigslist for rent, we just hit that. For sale by owner, we hit that early in the call. Okay. Facebook Marketplace, we're still not quite there yet, but this is a great, you could have a VA go into your marketplace, or if you want to go into your marketplace and just hit people up on Facebook and send them messages. Hey, was wondering if you would do a rent to own. Same text, just send it on Facebook. Easy. Pre-foreclosures. This is a little bit more of a situation where you might get someone that has considerable back payments.
Yeah. And
it's more difficult to put together a straight up lease option because a lot of times, you might only make $3, $5, $7,000, right, from an actual deal. So pre-foreclosures, they might be behind $7,000, $10,000. It's tough to put a deal together from to a straight up tenant, like a tenant buyer is what a lot of us call it in this space.
Is there a minimum you have to pull? A lot of them
only have that much money
on these lists?
No. I mean, you just make the request, we'll pull it for you.
Okay.
Right? If you want, if we only pull one, we only pull one. Ideally ideally you ask us to pull a few hundred. But
yeah, again, you're not going to get very far if you're only working a handful.
Right. You want at least a couple hundred, usually 500 to start. That's a good threshold because the math applies across the board.
About how much is that?
Really depends on which list you're actually working. So
okay.
Zillow, I can get you data on just straight up Zillow a lot cheaper than I can on, let's say, an expired listing. And the reason for that is because of the skip tracing. Okay. So I charge for skip tracing 5 cents. And then I charge generally a penny for the list. So if you're looking at an expired listing, that would be about 6 cents a pull.
Okay.
But that gets you generally 5 low, as many as 10 phone numbers. We go up to 10. If there's only 8 available, we give you 8. If there's only 3, we give you 3, but we go up to 10. And usually you get 2 emails, okay, from an actual skip trace. Okay. That's the tier 3 data. That's generally what people go with. And that's that's credit bureau data. That's the same stuff that you get on PropStream and everyone else. Okay. So ultimately what you're looking at with these pre-foreclosures though, guys, is you have someone that's behind on payments. So there's a more of a creative structure involved with this, but who you're probably going to target, you might be able to get this deal under contract just as easy, or maybe easier, if you can get them on the phone, because they're motivated. They're going to lose their house, right? So there's a motivation level there. The fact is, you're probably not going to move it on the marketplace, but what you can do is you can take this deal over like on a subject to, or on an owner finance or a wrap. I don't know if, Justin, do you talk about that stuff at all yet in your training?
No, we don't really talk about that too much, man.
Okay.
We're really specific on doing the creative side with lease options, and then we're really specific on the ugly house with cash buyers and so on and so forth.
Okay. So that's a little bit more advanced.
Yes.
On the training of that, but basically what you're doing, guys, is you're taking someone's on paper. Okay, the deed goes into your name. You are ultimately leaving the mortgage in the seller's name, but you're taking over this property on owner financing or subject to the existing mortgage is what it's called. Okay. They also call it a wrap. There's really 3 situations there. I'm not going to get into the exact specifics and all that, because we'll be here all day. But you can put this deal under contract. Let's say they're behind on payments $8,000 or $10,000. You can move this deal to a landlord, right? And you might put that out to a landlord as long as they can get into this property for 10% down or less. That's a deal for them, because a lot of times they finance properties at 20% down, or they are going to go to a realtor. They're going to go to for sale by owner, and they're going to buy it with cash, right? But if you can go to them and say, look, I've got this $150,000 house. That the seller is behind 10,000, and 10% down is 15,000, right? You can still make $5,000 on that deal. Okay. Because the landlord buyer is going to put $15K down on that deal, 10% down, and you can put a deal together. Okay. So again, that's another deal structure, but it's called down payment arbitrage. Okay. Look that up on YouTube. There's a guy named Sean Terry. He talks about that, and
Yeah,
it's a fantastic strategy. Helps you work these pre-foreclosures. Okay, because there's going to be a lot of them. Okay, the low equity vacant. So again, low equity means they just have no room to move. So a lot of these properties on Zillow, you're going to notice that the price on them doesn't go down much, if at all. And that's because they don't have any equity to move to be able to pay the realtor and pay the closing costs and all the other, simple things that come into a real estate transaction. So that's why a lot of the times these properties sit long day on market. Okay. So let me get back to that. Yep. So low equity vacants. And if that's a stacked list, you could have low equity and then someone has just decided to move. Well, that property is also vacant. So they're paying a mortgage plus the house sits vacant. There's a high motivation there. Okay. So that pretty much covers it, guys. I know we were on this call a little bit longer than what we anticipated. So, but hopefully that covers everything. If you need to watch the video back, obviously Justin records these. So.
Yeah, I record these, so
Yeah.
you can definitely check it out again if you need to, guys. No problem. We have been here quite a while, and I'm really grateful for your time, Michael.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for spending this much time with me. This is a last chance you guys have. Just screenshot this page and steal this progressive ordered list here. Boom, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Moving on. I've tried to answer the questions here in the chat and stuff as we've moved forward, and he just put it in the chat as also. So if you're in the Zoom room, hey, by the way, guys, visit us over at realestatewholesalersclub.com. I've got free training and agreements for you to get started. And we also have the Saturday session every Saturday at 10 a.m. Check out theautomatedrei.com. That's Michael's baby. And that's what we've been talking about here this morning. An incredible tool to get started, generating leads, climbing that mountain peak number 1, which is, the 4 mountain peaks. That's what we're all talking about here today is mountain peak number 1, getting, what have I done here? I've shared my screen somehow. Anyway, getting leads. So automated REI, guys, check it out. And theautomatedrei.com. Play around with it. Get going with it. There's no more excuses. No more excuses. You got no excuses. You know it's cheap. It's affordable. It's insane. Okay.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I've told Michael myself, you need to raise prices, man. It's ridiculous. It's almost like he's insulting himself because he has such a genius product here. It's so affordable, and I know in time he's going to develop it out, and the price will go up. So you better take advantage of it now and get in on the ground floor, guys. It's no sign up fee. It's cheap pay to play. So you can afford it. We're talking about pennies here. Now, do pennies add up? Absolutely, they add up. You can run this machine, get your business off the ground for less than $100 a month. There's no reason to say no to that, unless you're just
don't eat
stubborn.
out 2 times a month, man.
Yeah. If you're if you're stubborn or something.
Right,
anyway,
right.
All right, guys. Well, let's call it a day. Love you guys. Any last words? Any last words?
Last word.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you guys are definitely welcome. And I hang out in the VIP room, so if you guys are in there,
Right.
shoot me a message.
Yeah.
I generally check that throughout the day.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, you're definitely welcome, buddy. Appreciate you being on the call.
Yeah, we got. Hey, he is in the VIP room. Tusif is the guy who knows the nuts and bolts of all your campaigns and everything. He's also in there. So guys, take advantage of it. Don't abuse them, but use them when you need them, and they're there for you. And it's they don't get paid for that, guys. I don't pay them to be in the VIP. They don't pay to be in the VIP. They're there because they want to be, and they want to be helpful, and that's it. So, it's a blessing. So anyway, love you guys. We'll talk with you guys soon. Don't forget, next Saturday, we got Dr. Terrence Brown. That's the European expert on entrepreneuring, and he's going to blow our friggin' minds.
Yeah.
Okay? This guy is like, I'm kind of nervous now. Okay. All right.
That's
Love
awesome,
you
man.
guys. Hey, Michael, thank you again, man. God bless you and everybody else out
Thank
there.
you, Justin.
Thank you, David.
Thanks,
Thank
guys,
you.
for being here.